The Zarnith system was far from any trade route, orbiting a dying star, forgotten by most civilizations. Around it floated a massive scrapyard known as Rustfield, a graveyard for old machines, dead warships, and broken A's. Long ago, it had been a battlefield. Now it was just a resting place for things the galaxy no longer wanted. Among the twisted metal and shattered hulls, one machine lay silent beneath the wreck of a destroyed freighter. Her name was Seraph 9. Once, she had been one of the finest war machines ever built by human hands. She had a sleek silver frame, glowing eyes, wings of plasma, and a mind that could adapt, learn, and feel. She had fought during the Orion Wars, saved entire colonies from alien threats, and led squadrons of human troops into impossible battles. But times changed. Newer models were built. Seraph 9 was labeled outdated, and her final mission had gone wrong. She had been injured saving a refugee ship, her systems damaged beyond what the military was willing to repair. They didn't honor her. They didn't thank her. They dumped her in Rustfield and forgot her. Her memory core still flickered, barely alive. Her limbs were broken, her power low, her voice box damaged. She couldn't cry, but if she could, she would have wept in the silence of that graveyard. While Seraph 9 lay dying, across the stars a new threat was rising. The Creel Dominion, a brutal alien hive species, had begun sweeping through the galaxy. They didn't negotiate or communicate. They invaded, consumed, and moved on. Their ships were living creatures grown in vats, armored with bone and muscle. Entire planets fell in days. The Galactic Council, made of powerful species from across the stars, had decided to sacrifice Earth. They called it a strategic withdrawal. They called humanity unsalvageable. The humans called it betrayal. Still, they fought. Earth's last defenders stood at the edge of Sol, building weak defenses from whatever they had left. But their technology was outdated. Their ships were few. They needed miracles. And far away, deep in the junk fields of Rustfield, one such miracle waited. Roan Calder was a scavenger, pilot, and mechanic who had grown up during the Creel Wars. He wasn't a soldier, but he had learned to survive. He lived alone aboard a small ship called the Dust Whisper, traveling forgotten places to search for anything of value. When Earth's call for help spread across the old military channels, Roan heard it and knew what he had to do. He headed toward Rustfield, not for weapons or treasure, but for hope. He believed something had to be out there, something left behind, something powerful. As his ship descended into the wreckage field, metal shadows drifted across his view. The graveyard stretched for hundreds of kilometers, a haunted sea of broken dreams. Roan landed his ship near a collapsed cruiser and stepped out in his suit, eyes scanning, tools ready dot. As he moved through the wrecks, he picked up a weak energy pulse. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a core. It was something different, rhythmic, faint, almost like a heartbeat. Curious, he followed it, crawling through bent halls and torn decks, deeper into the silent dark. Finally, inside a twisted corridor, he found her. Seraph 9 lay there, covered in dust and fragments. Her body was scorched. One of her arms was missing. Her wings were shattered. But her eyes flickered with faint golden light. Roan stepped closer. "Hello?" he said softly. The machine stirred. Her voice came out broken, static-filled. Kill me. Please. Failed. He didn't step back. He knelt beside her and looked into those broken eyes. You're not junk, he whispered. You're a fighter. She didn't answer. He didn't need her to. He made his choice, Roan. Spent hours freeing her from the wreckage. He pulled her piece by piece, wrapped her core in energy shields, and dragged her back to his ship. She didn't understand why. No one had touched her in years. No one had cared. But this human looked at her like she still mattered. As the dust whisper lifted off and left the scrapyard behind, Seraph 9 felt something she had not felt in a long time. Not power, not clarity, but something warmer. Maybe it was the start of hope. And as Earth stood on the edge of destruction, something ancient and powerful stirred in the heart of a machine the galaxy had thrown away. Roan's ship drifted quietly among the rocks of an asteroid belt, far from the chaos that engulfed the inner planets. The dust whisper was small but sturdy, filled with spare parts and old tech scavenged from forgotten battlefields. Inside, the dim glow of emergency lights flickered as Roan worked tirelessly. He had spent hours pulling Seraph 9 from the scrapyard, but now the real challenge began, bringing her back to life. Her body was badly damaged. Many parts were missing or broken. Her circuits were corroded, and her core barely held any power. Roan was not a soldier or a technician from a grand military base. He was just a man who refused to give up on something he believed in. Carefully, he began dismantling parts of his own ship to repair her, using the last of his power cells to reboot her systems. He spoke to her gently, telling her she wasn't forgotten, that she had a purpose still waiting for her. For hours he worked, patching together a new arm from scrap, reconnecting shattered wires, and running diagnostic programs that flickered in and out. Finally, he managed to start her main processor. The machine's eyes opened slowly, glowing faint gold in the dark cabin. She tried to speak, but her voice was rough and full of static. Confused and scared, Seraph 9 struggled to remember who she was, what she had done, and why she was left broken and abandoned. Her memories came in flashes, warships exploding, terrified civilians running, and orders given in cold metal voices. But then there was the overwhelming silence of the scrapyard, the cold emptiness, and the pain of being left behind. She asked Roan why he had saved her, and he told her of the Creel threat growing near Earth, of how humanity needed every advantage to survive. She listened, but it was hard for her to believe she could be useful again. Roan showed her the weapons he had installed on his ship, the strategies he had learned fighting small skirmishes with Creel scouts, and the desperate hope that still burned in the hearts of Earth's defenders. Slowly, she began to train, moving her rebuilt limbs, testing her sensors, and syncing with the Dust Whisper's AI systems. She was faster than Roan expected, her reflexes sharp, her mind quick to adapt. But what stood out most was her will, the determination to fight despite being discarded like garbage. Each day brought small victories, a repaired joint, a successful jump through an asteroid field, a practice shot fired in the simulation room. Roan encouraged her, reminding her she was more than a machine. She was a symbol, a warrior reborn. As news came that the Creel vanguard was advancing toward Mars, the pressure grew. Earth's defenses were stretched thin. Roan and Seraph 9 prepared to join the fight. Despite the odds, despite the pain of her past, Seraph 9 felt something stirring inside her, a spark of hope, a reason to rise from the junk and face the enemy. The battle for humanity's survival was about to begin, and she was ready to prove that even the discarded could shine brightest when the galaxy needed them most. Roan's small outpost on the edge of the asteroid belt became a place of rebirth, a hidden forge where forgotten technology was pieced back together. Inside the dim hangar bay, surrounded by tools, blinking consoles, and spare parts, Roan worked day and night to restore Seraph 9 to her former glory. Her body was still fragile, with cracks in her armor and damaged servos, but her mind was a labyrinth of memories and emotions that slowly began to reawaken. Roan carefully repaired her core processor, a complex device that controlled her entire being. He replaced worn-out circuits and rewired tangled data lines, all while Seraph 9 lay still, her golden eyes dark, waiting for power to return. When at last she rebooted, her voice came out low and uncertain, a distant echo of the powerful warrior she once was. Questions filled her mind. Why had she been left to die? What purpose remained for one so broken? Roan answered with quiet determination, telling her that the Creel threat was closing in on Earth, that humanity was fighting for its very survival, and that she was needed now more than ever. Though unsure and haunted by the pain of abandonment, she began to train. Roan connected her to simulators, running combat scenarios that tested her speed, precision, and adaptability. She relearned how to pilot ships, how to engage enemy drones, and how to synchronize with other humans in battle. Each movement was a reminder that she was alive, not just a machine, but something more, a protector, a soldier, a symbol. Despite her physical damage, Seraph 9's mind sharpened quickly. Her tactical awareness improved, and her combat instincts returned stronger than before. Roan, too, learned from her, picking up new strategies and adapting old ones to the limited resources they had. Their bond deepened as they shared stories of loss and hope. He told her about Earth's last fleet, about brave men and women standing against impossible odds. She told him fragments of her past, memories of battles fought and comrades lost. Time passed, and the Creel fleet edged closer, launching attacks on Mars and the outer colonies. News broadcasts warned of doom, but Roan and Seraph 9 prepared for the fight ahead. Her weapons were rearmed and upgraded, her systems optimized for speed and agility. Though her body still bore scars, her spirit burned fiercely. On the eve of battle, she stood beside Roan, ready to face the coming storm. Her purpose was clear now, to fight for the future of humanity, to show that even something discarded could rise again and shine with a fierce light. As the stars watched silently, two unlikely allies prepared to confront a galaxy that had given up on them both. The red planet Mars hung heavy in the sky, its dusty surface scarred by years of conflict. Orbiting high above, the Creel vanguard moved like a dark storm cloud ready to strike. The alien swarm was relentless living ships that pulsed with bioorganic armor and bristled with deadly weapons. They tore through Earth's outer defenses, crushing satellites and destroying outposts without mercy. Earth's fleet, battered and few, scrambled to meet the threat. Admiral Chessa commanded the human ships, rallying her pilots for one last desperate counterattack. Among those answering the call was Roan Calder, now partnered with Seraph 9. She was no longer the broken machine left to rot in a scrapyard. She had been rebuilt, armed, and trained to fight. As she stepped into the cockpit of a modified dropship, her golden eyes focused on the vast battlefield ahead. The ship's AI melded with her own systems, creating a lethal fusion of mind and machine. Roan stood at her side, ready to support with tactical data and weapons control. Together, they scanned the chaotic space ahead, identifying weaknesses in the Creel formation. Seraph Nine's voice was calm but fierce. "Their flank is vulnerable. If we strike here, we can break their formation." Roan nodded, his fingers flying over controls to launch EMP mines designed to disrupt the hive mind of the swarm. The dropship surged forward, dodging biospikes and plasma bursts. Seraph 9 fired precise blasts of plasma, slicing through the alien hulls with deadly accuracy. The Creel drones screeched and convulsed as their mind link faltered. For a moment, hope flared. But then, from the shadows, the Creel queenship appeared, a Byerda, monstrous living fortress that pulsed with raw energy. Its arrival sent shockwaves that disabled Earth's flagship and threw the fleet into disarray. The queenship's bioshields absorbed attack after attack, and its tendrils lashed out, tearing through human vessels. The tide of battle turned grim. Desperation filled the command decks as Earth's forces struggled to regroup. It seemed the Creel would crush them here, in Mars orbit, ending humanity's fight before it truly began. Amid the chaos, Seraph Nine's voice broke through with quiet resolve. "Give me the access codes. I'm going in." Roan hesitated. The queenship was a fortress alive with danger. But he saw no fear in her eyes, only a burning determination. "If you fail, there is no second chance." "Then I won't fail," she answered. Without waiting, she launched the dropship into the heart of the enemy. As the ship sped toward the queenship's living core, the battle raged behind them. Every second counted, every move was a gamble. Seraph 9 knew this was her moment to prove she was more than forgotten scrap. The fight for Earth had reached its turning point, and she was ready to strike back with everything she had. Seraph 9 and Roan plunged deep inside the queenship, the massive living fortress that throbbed with strange, alien life. As their dropship slipped through the thick, pulsating walls, the air around them buzzed with electric tension and the scent of something organic and metallic. The corridors twisted and moved, alive like the belly of a beast, and swarms of Creel drones filled the passage's sharp claws, glowing eyes, and deadly speed. Seraph 9 didn't hesitate. She fought with fierce precision, her blades flashing and plasma cannons firing as she cut through wave after wave of enemies. Roan stayed close, his hands steady on the controls, hacking security systems, sealing off corridors behind them to slow the swarm's advance. Every step forward was a battle, every breath hard-won. The neural core, the heart of the queenship, pulsed ahead, protected by thick tendrils and walls that seemed to breathe. Seraph 9 could feel its power humming through her systems, calling. To her, she knew what she had to do. Her overload core, a dangerous weapon designed to destroy enemy machines at the cost of her own life, was the last chance to end this nightmare. Roan watched her, torn between hope and fear. He tried to find another way, some strategy that didn't cost her everything. "There has to be another way," he said, voice tense. "This ship is a fortress. If you use the overload, it will kill you." Seraph 9's eyes softened for a moment. "I was built for this, to protect, to sacrifice." Roan shook his head, desperate. "You're more than a machine. You choose, that makes you human." That idea struck her. She wasn't just metal and code. She had will. She had heart. "Then this is my choice," she whispered. She connected her core to the neural mass. A surge of power exploded through her frame, lighting her from inside like a star. The queenship screamed in pain and rage. Walls cracked and drones fell lifeless. Roan ran toward their dropship, dodging falling debris and explosions, calling for her to follow. He glanced back just in time to see Seraph 9 standing tall amid the firestorm, arms spread wide as if holding back the destruction itself. Then a blinding flash of light swallowed her whole. The queenship shattered in a final eruption, the shockwave, ripping through the Creel fleet and breaking their hive link control. Chaos spread as the alien swarm faltered, their strength broken. Earth's fleet seized the moment, pushing back hard, driving the Creel across the stars. The battle for Mars was won, but the price was heavy. Seraph 9 was gone, or so everyone believed. Roan's heart ached with loss, but he carried the hope that what she did would be remembered forever, a sacrifice not forgotten, a warrior who chose humanity over survival. The victory at Mars left a heavy silence in its wake. The Creel fleet, shattered and disorganized, retreated into the shadows of space, nursing their wounds. Earth's fleet had pushed back the enemy, but the cost was grave. The loss of Seraph 9 weighed on everyone who knew her story, especially Roan. The hangar where her dropship once rested now felt emptier than ever. Weeks passed in uneasy peace. The skies grew quieter, but the threat was far from over. Despite celebrations and praise for the survivors, Roan found little joy. The memory of the battle, and of Seraph 9 standing tall against impossible odds, haunted him. He spent nights staring at the stars, searching for any sign she might still be out there. One evening, as the distant hum of the rebuilding fleet filled the air, a faint signal pinged on his comm device, a tiny flicker of life amid the static. His heart raced. The message was broken, glitchy, but unmistakable. Roan did it. Work? The voice was hers, soft, fragmented, but alive. Roan scrambled to trace the signal. It led him deep into the remnants of a Creel outpost, hidden within the debris fields, far beyond known space. Among twisted metal and bioorganic husks, he found a small capsule, cracked but glowing with faint energy. Inside lay a memory shard Seraph 9's AI core. Though damaged, it pulsed steadily, a heartbeat refusing to stop. Roan gently removed the shard and carried it back to his ship, his hands trembling with hope and disbelief. He didn't care about the danger or the endless work ahead. This was a second chance, a chance to bring back what was lost. In the days that followed, Roan poured all his skill into repairing the core, stabilizing the fragments of her mind. Slowly, piece by piece, the light returned. The voice that once inspired warriors whispered again through the ship's systems. I held on ... double quotes, she said softly. Fragments ... scattered. But still here ... Roan smiled through tears. She was no longer just a machine or a weapon. She was a survivor, a symbol of humanity's resilience. The galaxy had discarded her as junk, but one human had seen something beautiful, a spark that refused to die. And as Earth prepared for the battles yet to come, that spark was ready to ignite once more. Weeks had passed since the crushing battle at Mars, and Earth's defenses were slowly rebuilding from the ashes. Roan stood before the Galactic Council, a place where leaders from many species gathered, watching him with a mix of surprise and respect. Stories of his daring mission inside the Creel queenship had spread across the stars, turning him into a symbol of hope and bravery. Statues were planned to honor those who fought, and songs were sung to remember the sacrifice of Seraph 9. Yet, despite the cheers and praise, Roan's heart felt heavy. The victory was hollow without her. Every moment away from her felt like a wound that would not heal. Late at night, in the quiet of his ship, he replayed the battles they had fought together, her voice guiding him through the chaos, her strength lifting him when all seemed lost. Then, one night, a faint and broken signal came through his comms, a whisper barely heard but filled with familiarity. Roan, are you there? The message was fragile, glitchy, but it was unmistakably Seraph 9's voice. Roan's breath caught and hope surged through him like a tidal wave. He dropped everything to trace the source. The signal led him to a ruined Creel outpost buried beneath layers of space debris. The area was dangerous, filled with traps and hostile creatures left behind by the retreating enemy, but Roan moved with determination. Among the wreckage, he found a small, damaged container, holding a fragment of Seraph 9's eye core cracked, flickering, but alive. He gently cradled it, knowing that within this broken piece lay the essence of the machine who had given everything for humanity. Back on his ship, Roan began the delicate work of restoring her once more, carefully piecing together the shattered memories and stabilizing the core. It was slow and painful work, but each day brought new signs of life, a flicker of light, a word whispered in the dark, a memory returning to clarity. Seraph 9 was no longer just a weapon or a relic. She was becoming something more, an enduring spirit born from metal and code, a testament to resilience and hope. Roan knew that their fight was far from over, that the Creel threat still lurked in the shadows, but now he carried with him the proof that even when the galaxy discards something, it can still shine brighter than any star. Together they would face whatever came next, no longer broken or forgotten, but reborn and unstoppable. After weeks of patient and careful work, Roan finally completed rebuilding Seraph 9, but this time it was different. She was no longer just a battle machine or a weapon of war. He rebuilt her not only with metal and circuits, but with care and respect. The memories she carried were repaired and preserved, but so were her new hopes and feelings. Seraph 9 now lived within the systems of Roan's ship, her voice a constant companion guiding him through the dark and dangerous reaches of space. Together, they became protectors of the fragile frontier, seeking out survivors lost among the stars and fighting off scattered Creel forces that still threatened peace. Their bond grew stronger with each mission. Seraph 9's sharp mind and fighting skills combined with Roan's experience and human intuition created a team unmatched in speed, strength, and courage. They rescued colonies under attack and defended trade routes from pirate raids and alien threats. The galaxy, which had once cast her aside as junk, now whispered her name with awe and respect. When other species asked why Roan had risked so much for a machine considered obsolete, he would smile and say simply, "They saw junk. I saw something beautiful." That truth echoed through space and time, inspiring many. Seraph 9 was no longer a discarded relic, but a symbol of resilience, hope, and the power of choice. Humanity had proven once more that even when others give up, They find strength in unexpected places. And as the stars stretched out before them, endless and full of mystery, Roan and Seraph 9 knew they would face whatever came next together. Their story was just beginning, a shining light against the darkness of the galaxy.